Welcome After the Hype with me, the host is always Brian Joseph. With me as always is Jonathan Hardesty, CHEWIE Darzo,
Hi,
and Emily Blake. I was really just trying to see like what you
squeak.
tried to say this time.
And then my mind just went completely blank.
Yeah, we heard.
It just became this vacuous emptiness of
the
nothing.
story that you're writing is just not going well at
the
all.
story is going
John's
horrible.
going to have a lot of important things to say today.
Well,
guys,
it's a
with
story
that
from
vacuum.
someone who just suffered a seizure.
There you go.
something, word.
It's the worst story of all time. Charles Dickens, you are not. And we have a special guest today, an empty chair.
Woo!
We had a special guest lined up who was taken ill at the last moment and had to back out, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll have her on again in the future. So we'll get started right with a where have you been doing? I'll go first. I finished by accident. I didn't know I was already that far through it, but I finished Big Mouth today.
Okay.
I started watching it yesterday, so whoops.
You were supposed to be watching Stranger Things yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Everyone else has been
I
watching
still
it.
haven't watched the first season of Stranger Things.
I turned it on and it started, and I went, nah, I'd rather watch something else. And then I watched Big Mouth, and then I finished Big Mouth. So I think I made the right choice because I plowed right through that
What's
show.
Big Mouth?
So Big Mouth is a Nick Kroll show. It's animated, and it's about a bunch of kids going through puberty, but it is insanely R-rated, and it's kind of an honest look, and they do a very good job, at least from what I can tell. I'm a dude, so I don't really know, but trying to show both ends of the spectrum of both being a boy going through puberty and a girl going through puberty, but is this like not Hollywoodized at all. Like kids like, oh shit, it's fucking 2 PM. I need to masturbate now. How the hell am I gonna get away with this? And like the sort of like fucked up things that go through your head when you're in that horrible time of your life, and it's very funny.
And a very good sequence with a girl who got a mirror and had a conversation with her vagina. Nice.
Yeah, the vagina is an animated.
They look
dude.
at each other and be like, "Oh, hello! I've been waiting to meet you." Because her vagina gets animated too, so it's talking to her the whole time.
Awesome.
And I love when she's like, so this is the clitoris, and then over here and over here's the actual vagina, and it's her mouth. She goes, oh. But it's like
I wish the audience could see the face that you made.
my vagina face. But no, it's a very funny show. It's insanely well written. I can see why it got renewed like 3 days into existence. I would recommend it. It's got a lot of.
Is Big Mouth the vagina?
No, Big Mouth is the Nick Kroll's character. He has a very big mouth.
Okay.
He's the awkward Jewish kid.
Yeah, well, they're all awkward Jewish kids.
They all are?
From what I could tell, yeah. They all go to the bat mitzvah.
Yeah, but anyone can get invited to a bat mitzvah.
No,
I
that's
guess
pretty
that's true.
exclusive. Says someone who doesn't know.
Yeah.
From a non-Jew.
I mean, they bring it up a lot.
Did you RSVP?
It kind of seems like they're all Jewish in one way or another.
Oh.
But
In one way or another.
But aren't we all?
Yeah.
And every Jewish person listening goes, no, you're not.
In the commute, you just hear a lot of people like, not at all!
You couldn't be more wrong with that statement.
Unsubscribe.
That's it for me. John, do you want to go?
Sure. Since I've been into D&D recently, I started watching/listening to Critical Role, the Geek and Sundry D&D session. I didn't know they had a podcast version, which has made it a lot easier to listen to on my commute, because like I drive for about an hour. So
Sure.
it's like I'm really trucking through it, and I like it. It's a bunch of voice actors doing D&D, and they're all having fun and kind of add a more performative aspect to it. And I've also been learning a lot as I do my own D&D sessions and Dungeon Master. Just things that are possible for me to do as a Dungeon Master, things that players can do, and just, watching to learn. And it's been really fun and really funny, just how a lot of these things can just epic fail in such a great way. And yeah, I really like it.
Cool. Chewie, what about you?
Well, I didn't mention last week, and I didn't really do much this week, that we watched Annabelle Creation.
Yeah.
Which ended up being a much more unsettling film than I was expecting at the time.
Yeah.
Dolls are creepy.
Yeah.
Dolls possessing little girls are creepy. Little girls not being able to get away is creepy.
She's in a wheelchair. It's tough to get away.
It's hard. And
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said edible creations.
Oh.
And I was trying to figure out what that had to do with
Annabelle
dolls.
Creation.
Got it. That makes way more sense. I thought this was going to be like a show about cupcakes or something.
No.
It's a shitty flower shop.
Where there's
Is it
dolls
a
that can
little shop, you might
possess.
say?
Annabelle arrangements.
And
I thought it was great.
the demon was very demony.
He's way less demony than the first movie, which was horrible. horrible.
Way less demony?
Well, I mean, because he's just they fuse them better together in this movie.
I
The
see.
doll and the demon being the bad thing.
Oh.
Whereas the first movie is just like the doll's over in the corner and they look and there's the demon just like, I'm a demon. Jump out a window, please. Okay. End of movie. Fucking horrible.
I want to make that horror film.
It's already been made.
This
It's
sounds
called
like a great
Annabelle.
Vine video.
It's terrible.
But for a little bit of a spoiler, I like how they're trying to make this whole thing like a shared universe, sort of, with The Conjuring. There's a nun in the movie, and she had just recently come back over from her nunnery in Italy or something.
Yeah.
And in the back of one of her photos, in like a dark thing, and you can only see it in a certain type of reflection, is the nun from Conjuring 2. So I'm like, ooh.
I'm usually kind of anti this whole shared universe thing that seems to be happening every single movie under the sun now, but I think they're actually kind of doing it pretty well.
I mean, if they can do it in a horror franchise, please do
Yeah.
it. It's amusing. Just don't denounce it and then hire really bad writers and make poor decisions like Universal
I
has.
was going to say, you talking about The Mummy?
Yeah.
Our favorite episode of the year so far.
I didn't even get to be on that one, and I had a lot of things to say about that piece of trash.
Shout out to Elliot, who was talking about watching or listening to our podcast about The Mummy the other day.
Oof.
I mean, like,
And then he took a stab at Trainspotting too.
Yeah. Since I didn't get on there, I'll just say really fast. After watching The Mummy, I'm like, I have not seen a movie that pitted woman against woman over a man in such a grotesque manner in a very long time.
It's a rough watch.
Yeah.
Not a recommended watch.
Yeah.
But Annabelle Creation is. That's a great
No,
movie.
Annabelle Creation was a great movie, and it's save for the dad and the priest that goes away pretty much right away. It's all a female cast,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic.
Yeah, they do a great job. It has that girl who was in the second Ouija
The
movie.
Ouija board, yeah.
and
Like
she's
that
just
girl
popping up
is
everywhere.
going to be a scream queen. She's
Yeah.
a scream queen in the making, and those doe eyes are going to take her far.
She's fucking great. Like
Yeah.
I'm excited to see her in everything she wants to do, or everything her parents
She's
want
got
her
like
to do. I guess
2 more horror films coming up.
Yeah.
It's too bad we don't know her name.
she's great though.
She's gonna go far. Who is she? I don't know.
A
Yeah.
doe-eyed girl.
Doe-eyed blonde girl.
She's not
On
blonde.
her birth certificate.
She's totally blonde.
The one in the wheelchair was blonde.
They're both blonde.
There are different degrees of blonde.
That's true, and she's one of them.
and while you're looking it
I
up, you
don't
can
like
find her
when people
name.
call brunettes dirty
Just a
blondes.
blonde
That
girl.
annoys me.
She's a blondie blonde.
no,
blonde
she's
brunette
not.
All right, well, she looks
she
it up.
blondie?
Emily, where have you been doing?
I watched Lights Out, written by my friend Eric Heiser.
Hey,
and
the guy directed the movie we're talking about.
oh,
Yeah, same guy.
Wait, you're friends with him?
yeah, he's great. He's like a really nice person who
Nice.
deserves his success.
Okay.
And his
he's,
wife
he's
is
from Norway, right?
Eric Heiser. He's American.
No, the director is Norway.
Oh, I'm talking about
David
the
A.
writer. The
Sandberg.
writer.
Oh, the writer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He also wrote Arrival.
I thought
and,
okay.
and the Thing prequel. Yeah. And he's
He
awesome.
also got a comic book out.
Yes. Secret Weapons.
Secret Weapon, yeah.
He's awesome and constantly working, and his wife is also just an extreme badass TV writer. But Lights Out was genuinely Lights Out is exactly the kind of horror movie that I like because it's not gory. There's no blood. It's just scary, creepy people like a lot of tension and a lot of anticipation and something showing up and you're just like, oh god, no, just turn oh god, the light won't turn on, oh god, that kind of thing. That's what I like a lot.
I thought it had one of the best written supporting male roles I've seen,
Yes!
because he's just so on board and willing to support her.
Yes,
I'm
he
like,
was
that's
great.
awesome.
And then that's when he runs away, you're like, oh, there's no way he's actually running away.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're supposed to think he is, but it was no, they've set him up as being too nice a guy. There's no way he just
Yeah.
ditched her. But yeah, I really liked the feeling of nervousness that I got watching this movie. And I couldn't watch it in the dark. I left a light on because I just couldn't do it. But it was also really short, which was interesting.
Nice.
It didn't
Well,
overdo it.
It's based on a 3-minute short film, so
yeah. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed I guess that's all there is. Just really, I like.
I thought the director had written it, so I'm sorry I didn't know that.
That's okay.
No,
It happens.
that director's moving on to Aquaman. Not Aquaman.
No.
Shazam.
Shazam!
Shazakwa.
Which Brian just informed me the Shazam has been casted as Zach. I forgot it. I always forget. his freaking name.
Zachary, I forget his last
Yeah,
name.
Zachary
From Chuck.
something. Yeah, he's Chuck. He's just always going to be Chuck,
Yep.
which he probably hates. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and now he's Shazam.
He's gonna
So
get
what's
be
the-
free.
What's the final world? Was she blonde?
She's a dirty blonde.
Yeah.
And what's her name?
Hey, okay, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a dirty blonde. It just happens. It just happens.
Hold on, now we need to find out her name.
Oh, shut up.
Riveting podcasting.
Welcome to the R&D podcast.
Lulu Wilson.
Lulu. A name like that and you guys forgot?
I just never knew it. Okay, should we get started on today's episode?
If we must.
Yeah.
If we must. So today, I there's really no way to preamble this. It's Baby Driver.
Preamble.
I mean, it is one of the bigger movies of the year. I didn't bother with numbers. It did well. Did not do as well as they were hoping, but that's the
What?
bane
I
of
thought
Edgar
it did
Wright.
better than they thought.
It did
was
better
going to.
than his other movies. So he's
Okay, well, at
he's
least
been
it-
doing better as far as I could.
But was this Paramount, right? I think Paramount wanted this, or whoever the production company behind it wanted it to make a shitload of money, and it made a decent amount of money. And anymore,
Why
that's
would you expect an Edgar Wright movie to make a shitload of money?
an
That's
Edgar
not
Wright
really his
with
wheelhouse.
with an unknown leading actor. Like,
Yeah.
there's just like, I mean, good luck, guys, but I think it did well. I
Yeah.
think it is highly one of the highest reviewed movies of the year.
Its budget was $34 million, and it made worldwide $226
Yeah, that
million.
means they
Pretty
won
good.
500.
Yeah.
This is also the worst year for movies in like 25 years, so everything did bad across the board.
Huh.
Bummer.
I just think people need to lower their expectations.
They do.
But like it did better than I think Hot Fuzz and Scott Pilgrim and Shaun of
Every-
the Dead. Like it did better
everything
than
did better than fucking Scott Pilgrim, but
but all those sequentially have done, he like Scott Pilgrim did better than the previous one and da da da. If I remember reading right, it's like he's been getting more money from
I
his,
thought Scott Pilgrim was his lowest, but I could be wrong.
maybe. All I know is
At
that,
World's End, it wasn't really huge over here. It did well overseas though.
oh okay.
Okay, well, we should do my 30-second breakdown. So since I have not made myself do this, and if the fucking listener knows the last time I did this, go for it and let me know, because I couldn't tell you.
We did it for Front Row.
We did it for Front Row, but for my own show?
Oh, for your own show.
Shh.
Did you do one for the battle? The battle?
I, think I
holiday
did.
battle?
Oh, yeah, I guess we count that. Chewie just informed me that nobody cares.
Wow, support.
All right. Whenever. Okay, you ready?
Oh, God, am I? Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready, John?
Oh yeah.
All right. And go, go, go.
All right, so Baby Driver is a movie about a kid who is a delinquent, steals cars, steals the wrong car. It's Kevin Spacey's car. Kevin Spacey's like, don't steal my car. You have to work for me now, so he agrees to work for him. He has to pay off his debt by working and stealing and driving and being a badass, and then he decides, one last job, and kills Jamie Foxx, and then starts killing a bunch of other people and causes a bunch of people to die, but then rides off to the sunset with a girl who should not be with him, but she is for some fucking reason, and they're happily ever after.
All right. 25 seconds.
And then she wraps up her entire existence into his and holds her life for 5 years for him. And
Yeah.
hopefully, maybe it'll work out. I don't know.
I mean,
It always does when there's a guy in
knows?
prison.
Well, when you never get to see him again, yeah.
yeah.
I loved that at the end of
So-
Not Another Teen Movie when they had Molly Ringwald as the flight attendant going, what are you guys doing? No, it's going to end terribly. You're both going to go to college and you're going to break up.
I mean, you're right. Unless it's the world of Baby Driver. But honestly, that's kind of where I want to start with this, because I have really nothing bad to say about this movie. I have a lot of critiques and enjoyable things I want to talk about, but there's really the only super negative thing in this movie that I feel I just want to get done with and out of the way.
The two ladies.
And it's not just the two ladies, it's just the relationship that really irks me the most. The Baby and Deborah relationship.
I mean, the relationship on which the entire movie hinges.
Yeah, it fucking
I mean,
annoys
it is
the shit out of me.
It's a very romantic way of looking at it.
No, it's a fucking 12-year-old boy's way of looking
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
romance.
Yeah.
It's very
And-
romantic.
But it's just like,
She
yeah,
sings like my mom.
yeah.
She's an orphan like me.
It's so fucking like cheesy that it's just like this movie's so close to being perfect, and then there's one super glaring thing that just ruins most of the ride for me.
It's just because they've only known each other for a week, and then she's willing to give up her entire life.
Not
for
just give up her
him.
entire life. She's willing to jump into a life of crime. Like, yeah, I'm going to start driving away from
Also-
cops.
also-
I'm going to try to kill a guy. Like, what the fuck?
He like literally puts her life in danger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just like, no, this is cool.
No, I love you.
No, we're gonna survive this.
But but when he says he loves her, she seems like, oh, really? Like, I thought I was the only one this stupid crazy right now. I guess we're both stupid crazy.
Yeah. Stupid love stupid.
Like, it's just so frustrating because I
think it ends up being like, because the whole movie kind of plays fast like the cars and everything, it kind of treats that also very fast, and it's not gonna
She's
work.
gonna be pregnant in
see. I
second
think that
week,
was
guys.
the goal, but it didn't work for me.
Right.
Because
'Cause
everything else had this history to it. So like
Right.
as fast as it was, you bought that Baby and I forget Kevin Spacey's character, but you bought their past relationship.
Right.
You understood why Kevin Spacey liked the kid so much.
Right.
Even Baby and John Hamm's character. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Even they had like history. All these people have this really kind of cool ingrained history that made me like these characters. But with Deborah, it's you get one scene of exposition in the laundromat, and then they're in love, and it's like it
is missing kind of what
A montage. I mean, for a movie with a lot of music in it, they could have had
Yeah.
a romance montage.
They had a montage of them at the table eating dinner where you never actually saw them eat anything.
But
Actors never want to fucking eat, or they want to eat everything.
bunch of bastards.
Yeah,
But
they
yeah,
can't ever just lightly pick at the food. It's got to be like, I'm diving in, or fuck this, I'm not touching it. Anyway,
it's funny. You can totally see the difference when you watch a movie too.
Yeah.
Well, and it's missing kind of what the movie True Romance does, like sets that up much better, and
Right.
it kind of gives you time for them to have that spark, that fall in love, and make it believable. And I think this movie kind of went too fast to have that particular moment.
But they even did the same thing, or he did the same thing in Scott Pilgrim, and I bought it in Scott Pilgrim. Like
But
I was on board.
again in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah,
they're
we
just
talked
being
about
really
that.
dumb about love.
Yeah, but they're being really stupid about love, but the whole world makes it believable. Whereas this one, because everyone else has long established relationships and these people don't, but they're supposed to be the same level, it feels off.
Yes, Edgar Wright writes really good relationships between male friends, and
Oh,
just cannot figure out how to make male-female
I mean,
relationships
like,
still
however
real.
big of a fan I am of Edgar Wright, because I am. I love his
Oh,
movies.
for sure.
Yeah, they're
He
great.
doesn't have a standout female character in any of them. It's always about the dudes.
Yeah.
The best would be Ramona, but again, from Scott Pilgrim. But
It's
again,
still all about him. Yeah.
it's still all about him, and that's it's adapted. So
And,
it's
I
still,
mean,
that character already existed
His
before
re-
Edgar Wright.
The relationship in Shaun of the Dead is great, but that's because they're like dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And it's not a successful romance.
He's white knighting her the whole
Yeah.
time, which I would find irritating.
Yeah, you would not be the good
I'd
person
be like,
for that.
what the fuck are you doing here? We broke up. I don't fucking care if you came here. Get out.
I'm not going to your fucking bar.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
She tries.
But yeah, that's really the only major complaint I have with the movie. Does anybody else have another one that really sticks out when you get out of the way?
Oh, I don't like the other girl.
Darling.
Darling is just a 12-year-old boy's like, she's sexy, she's girly, and she likes guns. And
She's also
kind of like an infant where she likes to suck on
And
things.
she didn't really have much of a purpose in the gang other than to hang on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she
And they're-
really...
And then she uses his jealousy to murder people.
Well,
I'm
and then
just like,
she
what?
threatens Jamie Foxx in the diner, and then that never pays off with her little shootout of the cops. She misses all of them, and then she gets killed by the cops. Like, she's not that same force that John Hamm's character is promised as. He's that crazy bull who never stops and is relentless.
And
the
think-
movie proves that, but not for her.
And I feel like they should have been equals. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
what the relationship was.
Like
So-
her little choice there about shooting at the cops directly. Even when we saw it in theaters and we were entranced at the time, I was still like, that's a terrible decision.
Yeah, that one kind of broke the moment for me because it was just like it's a really awesome sequence, but then she just stands out there with two huge automatic. Like you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like everyone else knows get behind the car, but for some reason you don't. Like it didn't make sense to her character because before that she might be kind of annoying and do the baby doll thing, but she didn't seem stupid. And then right there I'm like that is just borderline stupid.
And hers was like a death of convenience in terms of the plot going. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
Like,
she
it-
was totally used to make John Hamm's character motivated.
right. And Baby had to think to kill Jamie Foxx's character, and I thought that was so creative and so clever that he just does that and is like he just takes his action and pierces him. And then
Can we talk about that moment?
Yeah.
So yeah, that scene. The thing that I love about that scene, talking more about things I like, and that scene in particular over the entire movie, is that's the moment that Baby stops being a passive character.
Right.
Because throughout the whole beginning of the movie, I was actually almost a little annoyed with it because Edgar Wright usually doesn't have that character. Yeah, for the most part, where he's letting the plot happen to him.
Right.
And he's not really a participant in his own story. He's just kind of another one of the moving parts. And that moment, he just changes the whole game, which you don't really see done in a lot of movies. Like a lot of movies kind of has him. If it's a passive character, he's gonna be a passive character the whole way through.
And it was a moment of surprise for me because I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting him in his passive state to do that. I literally gasped in the theater when he did that because I was like, "Oh, damn!
Yeah,
You've done it.
Baby
You've made
just
it."
murdered the fuck out of that man.
Yeah, and it's such a great, just like I'm taking control of my life. Fuck everything.
Right.
It was an awesome moment, and it's done so well, and it's so jarring and shocking and violent. It's just like it's awesome.
I
But then
was
you have
happy.
her like stand out in front of the car and get shot. So it's like it
Yeah.
kind of undercuts that in a way. Like if all these characters could be on the same equal footing, it would, as you say, make this a great movie.
Yeah.
But everyone's a side character to Baby.
Which is fine.
He's a totally fun character.
He
You
is.
like watching him run around, like prancing to his music and stuff, and being
And,
the cool guy.
And as far as getting a new leading man in Hollywood, like I'm totally on board with
Yeah.
this guy. He was great.
Oh, charismatic as hell.
Yeah, he needs to be in a
We need more
musical
men
where
that
he
can
dances
dance.
though, because
Yeah.
he can fucking dance.
Yeah.
Get him in a musical and
Yeah,
a dance number. Like,
I don't know if he can sing, but we could find out.
He looked like he's been classically trained triple threat, if you will.
Classically trained.
He looks like a
you will.
Juilliard kid.
I have one more thing that was irritating me more than the other things was I liked Kevin Spacey's character through most of the movie, but I mean he was an asshole. Like I liked his character, but also I didn't like his character, you know. And I thought he was kind of a dick. And then suddenly at the end, we're supposed to feel like he's the hero guy. I was very confused by that. I was like, wait, I don't like him, and now all of a sudden he's a good guy that I'm supposed
That
to
turn
like.
was a little weird.
I was really confused by what I was supposed to be feeling in that moment.
I bought into the turn because when they had the line of "I never use the same crew twice, but he always uses Baby,"
Yeah.
I immediately took that he likes Baby. Like whether or not he feels like he owns Baby and needs Baby to do these things, either way he likes that person. So I don't think he wasn't still the bad guy or still a bad person. He just decided, well, I want this kid to get out of here because for some reason he likes him.
But enough to die for him?
I don't think he planned on dying for him.
Yeah, I don't think he planned on it either. Those guys just happened to be there, and he
Yeah,
was like,
that was
"Well,
just-
this is it."
Yeah, that was inconvenient timing. I think if he had the choice of die for Baby, the answer would have been fuck no.
Okay.
and I think
guess
that made a
I'll-
little bit more sense the second time I watched it in the theater. I was also like,
Yeah,
what?
no,
He turned-
totally.
But then, like, as he was talking about that Monsters Inc. line,
Yeah.
and like I was like, okay, so there's been enough setup to where I kind of had to go back in the movie and kind of follow that. It's like, oh, okay, he's got him with every job, like you said, and then there's that Monsters Inc. line. He takes him with his son to the
Nephew.
Yeah, he
or
introduced
nephew
him
or something.
Yeah, he
to-
introduced him to family. Like clearly,
Yeah.
there's more of a tie there than he has with the other schlubs he does the jobs with.
I don't understand why did he hire the other ones back again? Did he
Well, it's
say
just a
that?
different crew.
But
He uses the same people, just not assembled all together.
Yeah, yeah,
really?
that's,
Oh.
That's kind
I
of what I guessed.
I
from it.
misunderstood that then.
Yeah.
I thought he just had like a million people to choose from.
Although why he would ever use bats
Yeah.
once is beyond me.
Yeah.
That guy is a fucking liability.
Yeah.
as he proves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think Jamie Foxx did a great job with the
Oh,
role.
for sure.
Like,
And it-
Like talk about making me hate a character. I'm just
Oh
like,
my
this
God.
guy's obnoxious.
He's obnoxious, and he's a fucking liability.
Yeah.
I also
I've-
hated his sweater.
I've ran crime jobs in GTA 5, and you need people who are good at their job.
so fine.
I would not have hired him.
Don't hire someone whose whole shtick is that they're insane
Yeah.
and a loose cannon.
Position filled. Tap, tap, tap.
But I mean, I love Jamie Foxx in the movie. I think he is fantastic. And it was one of those roles where, like, I haven't seen him in anything in a while. I was like, oh, I miss him.
And it's a perfect fit for this. That has a lot. There's a lot of humor in Edgar Wright movies, and this kind of like fun-loving thing, and it needs that crazy kind of offset, that extra violence, to really give that threat. And he really does. He's this
Yeah.
scary, chaotic element in what's otherwise a very humorous crime movie, where these are like lovable characters, and they're ooh crime.
But the thing is, you say they're lovable, but I never for once thought that any of them were not dangerous. I think Edgar Wright and the cast did a great job making them all feel like, oh, I like this person. I can hang out with them. But fuck me, I will never cross them.
Oh, especially
Right.
John Hamm. Like
Yeah.
you really were like, oh, John Hamm's such a great guy, except don't piss him off because I think he's probably
He
murdery.
feels a
Yeah.
little off kilter.
And then that definitely pays off
Yeah.
later.
Oh,
where
yeah.
You're just like, oh no, I liked you, and now I can't because you're trying to kill him.
Yep.
But it's like, well, you had a reason to kill him. Like, I was defending him in my mind as much as like, oh yeah, you're totally evil and you're trying to run him down and kill them both. But like, oh, you miss your girl.
But I get your motivation.
yeah, I get your motivation.
You're
That's
alone
great.
now.
But it's like characters like John Hamm's character where I go, like, this movie was fucking incredible. Like, they did
Yeah.
such a good job because he was so likable. Like, when he's like, they have their whole conversation about what the killer track was, and they're like, oh, we're
yeah.
gonna listen to it together. And like, it's just like, it's almost cute. Like, it's just
Yeah.
kind of like adorable moment.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's
oh,
what John Hamm was perfectly cast in that
Yeah.
role because he's so capable of being both the nicest guy you've ever met and a cold-blooded, like fucking piece of shit asshole.
yeah,
And not every actor can pull that off, being both.
and he does
Especially
it
at the same time.
so well. Like, and he did it
Yeah.
throughout all of Mad Men. Like, that kind of was his character in Mad Men. Was he is a great dad who's a fucking asshole, and he kind of
Don Draper was a bad person.
he was a bad
Yeah.
person. And like this thing was more of an extreme, but it still kind of had that feel to it. Whereas like he's a good guy. Like he could walk into anywhere in the world, and people accept him as kind of like a nice looking good dude, but at the same time he's fucking horrible, and I really like that. I wish the girl got as much. I don't know.
They set him up to be a very Bonnie and Clyde-esque thing, and we just missing the Bonnie.
She was supposed to embody innocence. And in the problem, she was an innocent person who he protects at the end because she's not made for this life.
Oh no, I was talking about his girl, the one that you don't like,
the baby
Darling.
girl.
Darling.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
Okay,
I was
no.
like, really? She is? Because she shoots people.
No. The other girl, she's not innocent at all.
No, not
She's
at all.
an
Deborah just
ex-stripper,
shoots
as they
people
is.
looks.
Like she's supposed to be an ex-stripper or something, right? Who made him cheat on his wife and leave being in Wall Street, or that entire speech.
Yeah, and then they became druggies, and they
So she's the baby in this scenario.
Yeah.
Can I just say I like how they refer to their habit, like the nose habit or whatever. How do they refer to it? Like, not nose candy, but like when we clear our nose out or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember, but it was,
it was
clever. I remember that.
And so understated. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, wait, hold on. They were just talking about drugs.
Well, I like that line from Jamie Foxx. I hope it's somebody's quote, but where he's like, "You guys steal to support your drug habit. I do drugs to support my stealing habit." It's like,
Was that your line, Chewie?
No.
Okay.
damn, you had that good face of like,
Yeah,
you
he did.
motherfucker.
The shoot out.
I am
shootout
just
face?
not aware of the faces I make. I just really wonder what people think of me on a daily basis.
Well, look at them for a while and find out.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then they'll be like, "Why are you looking at me like that?"
Why are you so angry
and happy and curious.
and confused?
It's great that we're talking about Chewie's face on a podcast.
Yes, it's
It's really helpful.
I have a very
Riveting
animated
podcasting.
face, people, that I am not in control of, apparently.
Gotta control that face.
Yeah. Get your face to fall in. Where do we want to move to? What do we want to talk about?
Music? Should we talk about the music?
We should probably talk about
it
the
is
music.
the music and the editing essentially are my favorite things. About this
They
movie.
kind of have to go hand in hand.
Yeah.
The music was way overhyped for me because by the time I actually got to the movie, because I saw it like a week late, I feel like something like that.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I know Emily saw it before we did because we talked to her about it for a while, but it was everyone told me how great the music is, and I feel like every time somebody says that when I go to see the movie, it's like, well, it's good music, but
It's very good music.
it's not my favorite songs of these people. It felt like a lot of like the deep cuts, like this is my favorite song by Queen. It's not your favorite song by Queen.
Right.
I mean,
It felt like a
Edgar
lot of that.
Wright.
There was a little bit of
always
music
uses
pretension,
music.
especially in the
Yeah.
laundromat scene where they're like this song, and then the diner. They kind of wax a little
My favorite
hipster about the music.
My favorite soundtrack from
Wax
him
hipster.
is Hot Fuzz, but I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't agree.
I think for me, it's how the music is used. And,
Absolutely.
and it's the
Yeah.
way that this is a musical, in the way that it's edited and constructed, and everything is on the beat. And as an editor who really likes that sort of thing,
love that. Yeah.
I was just like, especially the gunfight where it was just like dun 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 dun, like
That was I never caught that.
That
The
was
first
so
time I saw it,
cool.
I did not catch it. When I watched it this time, I was like, holy shit! Every gunshot's on the beat.
yeah.
So is there the montage of them going to dinner? The entire camera spinning around them with their movements is all to the song.
No, that makes sense. But
Or
I'm
when
talking
the cars
more
are going through the garage and it whips past the pillars, each pillar is a beat in the
Yeah.
song. It's
Yeah.
like those things are so
And
great.
it means you plan your shit out ahead of time. It means that he knew exactly what he went in with confidence and an awareness of what the plan was before they started, which is great.
He did edit on set.
Yeah.
So-
the editor was on set with him doing that, and I read the interview and I was just like, holy damn,
That's bonkers.
that's
Didn't
aggressive.
you, Brian? Didn't you say that he had this movie planned for the last 10 years, though,
If
or
not more
something?
so. He,
Yeah.
in the behind the scenes, he said about 14 years. He's been
14
trying.
years.
Wow, that
He even did
explains
that music video with Noel Fielding that was actually this movie.
Yeah, it's just the opening scene of this movie, but with Noel Fielding.
If you've
instead.
never seen that music video, watch it. It's really good, and it's just kind of funny post.
I'm
Baby
glad they
Driver.
included it on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, it is on the Blu-ray.
Because I watched it right after the movie, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah.
It's a good song too.
God,
And
now I'm wondering what the script supervisor what would your job be on set if an editor is there editing things while you're on set,
getting the editor coffee and going, I fucking hate my job.
bitching with each
Or
other.
just in tandem being like,
Yelling
no, that
lines.
like you could actually see like,
Yeah.
oh, this is missing. This is
Yeah.
discontinuous. Like, I'm sure they worked very much in tandem.
yeah.
But there's in the behind the scenes, if you watch it, there's a funny moment where he Edgar disappears into a trailer, and then he comes out with a laptop to show John. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Berthal, the Punisher.
Barenthal.
Barathol, is that it?
Barenthal.
But he comes out and shows him the cut. He's like, "You're fucking nuts, man." it's like I love that guy. But I just that the foresight of just going like, these are the tracks that are going to be in the movie. We're going to use these songs for these scenes, and we're going to cut it on because they had to, like, when they're doing the rehearsals, they play the songs loud, so they knew that all their actions had to be on beat. Like there's so much planning in that.
Love planning,
and it's just like, but I love planning too, just on a general shoot. I mean, the show I work on, which will not be named, we do no pre-production meetings whatsoever, ever. So all of our shoots come back fucked up. So planning,
none of us on our job do pre-production either.
Yeah, planning is great in general, but there's planning and then there's this, which this is almost like an obsession. Like this was so well planned and then executed. Like you can have the best plan in the world, if you don't know how to execute it, it counts for shit. But
and if it weren't enough that it was all planned, the movie calls this out many times where the music stops or has to be restarted. Yeah, and it's like it calls so much attention like to how it's made that it's so filmmakery, and sometimes that can be a distraction for people, but I eat that up.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
and Edgar Wright knows what he's doing when he does it. He's not just like, look at this cool thing I can do. Every choice he makes is for a purpose, not just sort of to show off. It's a story purpose.
Well, here's the thing: is I've talked to some people throughout the week about the movie, and I think it's an important distinction is that everyone I know who's in the industry or near the industry or somewhat related to the industry thinks it's one of the best movies of the year. People who aren't, it was fine.
Yeah.
And it seems like Edgar Wright kind of runs into that problem, I think, a lot. Because mostly people I talk to are industry people. That's 90% of the people I talk to on a daily basis, which is great for me, but it means that I get very little glimmers into the outside world.
Oh, yeah.
And when I step outside this bubble, it's like, man, you guys see Baby Driver is great. What's Baby Driver?
Yeah.
Do you guys see The Raid? The Raid's the best action movie ever. Never heard of it.
Yeah, I gave my brother both Raid movies for Christmas one year, and then months later I asked him, like, did you ever watch them? He's like, one of those foreign films?
Yeah. Well, and I think that the movie does this too. Like the scene that you make me think of with that is the very beginning when he's walking down the street and like all the art
words
on the street are part of the song. They are weird words and lyrics in the song as he's walking by, and I was like, this is amazing. But no one else I've watched it with has noticed that. I mean, it's a very. I
didn't notice it in theaters. I noticed it at home.
All of it was so obvious, but I work in art department, so
Exactly.
I'm always looking at the
See,
background.
That's the thing is that
This is a great movie for people in the bubble. Like,
We're always looking at the things we like.
Yeah.
but we're all in the bubble. So I'm thinking like this would have been a great time to have somebody on who knows nothing about film. But sadly, like I said, most everyone I know
Kind of like,
are film
actually,
people.
one of my favorite moments in the entire movie is near the end when they're in the parking structure, Baby's in the truck, Buddy's in the cop car, and they're staring at each other, but there's this deep red on John Hamm's face, and then the blue on Baby's face, and I'm just like, oh, great, evil versus good.
in my mind, like,
Edgar likes Star Wars.
And it's like,
So good.
but there's so many of those moments where we're just like, oh, this technique, this thing, it's so great. He's seeing red, he's evil, and it's evil versus good, and everyone else is kind of like, that's a cool scene.
I do wish there was more of the classic Edgar Wright, like, quick cut, thing that he does because he thinks that these things like putting there was a seatbelt one, I think, where they were putting the seatbelt, and because he does that because he said those things are so mundane that he finds it funny to just like make a big deal about them, and do them quick like that.
The bar fight in World's End is kind of along those lines, where like there's so many of those little quick cuts and quick moments that are just so comedic.
I mean, there were a few in here, but they definitely weren't as on the nose as they usually are.
Right.
Like him making the sandwich.
Yeah, like the sandwich. There's another one I was thinking of, but it's like, little ones, but they're
not as many as he usually does.
I mean, this one, for me at least, feels the least Edgar Wright-y out of all the Edgar Wright films, which is fine. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's a problem in the movie. I can see why a lot of like the diehard Edgar Wright peoples put this one rather.
Simon Pegg's not even in it.
Nor's Nick Frost. What the fuck are they thinking?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But like I think that's why a lot of like the diehard Edgar Wright people think it's like, man, it's okay. It's like, well, I actually think it's kind of better than a lot of his other outings, but that's because I feel like he pushed himself more.
He pushed himself and he restrained himself in parts. Like he kind of pulled back in this movie. It seems like. And I appreciate the movie, especially the second time watching it, more for it. Whereas, like, his other movies, he just goes full tilt. He's just doing his thing and just kind of uncontrolled.
Which is a blast.
Which
it's
is a
ton
blast,
of fun. Yeah.
But this feels scaled back.
The other ones felt like he was making a film with his best friends and having a good time, and the film is just kind of a byproduct of him having a great time. This one felt like he actually went out to make a movie. And I'm not sure if there's a negative to there or a positive, but there's definitely a difference between the rest of his movies he made before and this one.
If you have, I assume you have at least one, like Hot Fuzz or something. Or do you have the Cornetto trilogy like pack?
No, we bought them as
I don't know if it's on those. I know it's on the trilogy thing. There's some special features where Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg stand in front of their easel where they have their notes that they did when they were coming up with all this stuff. They saved them, and so they go through all 3 of the movies and they show all their the papers and the notes, they like how they broke the story or whatever. And it's clear that this is like the most fun thing in the world to them. Like they had such like their banter and the things they write down, and they're just like they're pointing at things and they're going, "What the fuck did this come from? I don't know." Like, and it's just they obviously had so much fun. So it's like exactly what you said. Like it was yes, they're writing a story together, but like it's obvious that they just were doing it to have an absolute blast, and it pays off. I mean, when you watch the movies, you can tell this movie is made out of love. It's made out of fun. And yeah, Baby Driver feels still like he loves it, but it has less of that like woohoo, we're having a good time quotient and more of a serious filmmaker.
Which I mean, that makes me so much more excited for Edgar Wright's career. Like as a director,
because it proves he can mature, and and I say that very carefully because,
I'm not saying his other outings were immature,
right.
But it shows that it shows growth, and it shows like he has the capabilities to do both, which is awesome. Like I'd still love for them to do another one of those. I don't think they will, although Simon Pegg did just come out and say that they'd written a Shaun of the Dead sequel about vampires, which sounds awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. But Taika Waititi in there,
yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. But I don't need another one of those because I have them. And if this is what they're doing now, I'm totally on board. Like, I'm on board for what they want to do.
And I think I like where Edgar Wright's going. Like, I like that we have Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and all those, but those are of a time for me.
Yeah.
As a viewer, like, I want to move on and keep getting some of that style, but just matured and directed in different ways. You know, and I think that's what he's doing, and I like that. So to go back for me wouldn't be as appealing necessarily.
And then if you watch like the behind the scenes, which clearly I did, because I keep bringing it up, everyone on set just keeps talking about like working with him. The behind the scenes kind of turns into a Edgar Wright blowjob fest.
Yeah.
They're really big fans of him apparently.
Usually with those, I kind of fade out a little bit of watching.
Yeah, but they say that like working with him on this thing, it was like so clear that he had the entire project in his head from beginning to end. And like John Hamm keeps bringing, like I think he had every frame in his head memorized because there wasn't a thing that he didn't like want down to the T.
Right.
Like there's very little room for improvisation. Like this was very much Edgar's head on screen, which is
makes me just like that makes my little script supervisor heart go pitter pat. I'm just like, oh yay, that means when you ask him a question, he immediately has an answer. Oh, that's exciting.
Well,
and
it's like
sexy, guys.
If you go through like the animats that they have again on the Blu-ray, like it's usually when you look at the animats, you look at what ends up on screen. They're close, like they're like cousins, if you will.
Yeah.
They are spot on. Like the animations for what they're planning these things to look like and what they ended up looking like are nearly identical. Like it's kind of mind-boggling. Like I've looked at a lot of that stuff because I've always kind of enjoyed it. Like I like the behind the scenes, like the from fucking storyboards to picture. It's like it's kind of fun. Like look what changed, what didn't work, what did work. It all worked.
Yeah,
they made sure it worked. And that on top of what I want to talk about next, practical driving.
Man.
Good Lord.
Good God.
Amazing.
And I have a friend at work who had been like, I thought there'd be more driving.
What?
Like, dude.
It's called Baby Driver.
I mean, I'm sure there could have been more car stunts, but the fact that they wanted to keep them all practical, there's only so many you can do.
The fucking SUV going over like all the hills and crashing in through stuff and just awesome.
The red car that was in every single trailer because how could you not use that footage as much as possible when he did the skid between the two?
So
holy
cool.
shit!
I've failed many of moves like that in GTA 5.
Yeah.
I was afraid you were going to save your life.
Oh, yeah.
John, don't do that.
Jesus
Stop
Christ.
wrecking your cars.
He's got the kid in the back
Karina's like, faster, you loser.
Oh, God.
We're going shopping.
But
We gotta get to Barnes and Noble.
I know there were some wire assisted stunts and whatnot because you kind of have to at a certain point.
At a certain point, yeah.
Safety.
Well, it's that, and they wanted Ansel driving the car, and he's not a professional driver. Apparently, he's a very good driver, though, but he's not 100%.
Is that part of his Juilliard training?
Probably.
They do have a course on that.
You have ballet and driving.
I don't know if you guys saw this. They broke down where he was driving based off of geography in the frame, and followed his that first opening chase, and how geographically accurate it was. To the edit and to the location. My heart went pitter patter. I was just like, oh damn.
That's so nerdy.
Dude, no, I'm there with you.
When I saw that, I was just like, I gotta watch this again. And I watched it again. And then they're like, hey, get back to work.
Guys, I'm going to go back and watch this movie and masturbate to it.
The things that the editors and the scripties find arousing is not the same as me.
It's good things you learn on After That.
Yeah, you see art in the background and get excited about it?
I'm like, ooh, color schemes.
What a well spray painted wall. Ugh.
I mean, that's why I'll always enjoy La La Land for all of its problems. That movie's beautiful.
Oh, it is so beautiful.
It is beautiful. The costumes are also very beautiful.
Anything in this movie stand out?
Well, yes, the lighting and the framing a lot in this film was really good with the environments they gave them, like where they did their business with the green and kind of taupey, like cream other side. It's very like kind of dirty, but everything's also warm. There isn't any totally unwelcoming sets in this film, which a lot of times in things that dealing with crime, there'll be an unwelcoming scenario.
What about the shootout sequence?
Well, that was just classic dark warehouse with boxes in the middle. That was a standard.
That was the only one that I thought would be considered unwelcoming.
I mean, it's unwelcoming because you're going to go meet maybe some rough people.
It's weird watching that scene.
There's nothing that really stood out in it. It was all about that sequence with the shootout.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing that scene after watching Free Fire, which makes use of its like warehouse.
Oh.
Yeah.
The whole movie. So then you're just like this. The second time through, the warehouse feels less.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they put less attention on that one versus the other locations, which have so much character to them. Like they feel real. This warehouse didn't feel exactly real.
I liked how a lot of the stuff around Baby was all very classical. Especially in the apartment with all the records and all the greens and everything, and the small television.
Yeah.
I think it was a tube TV.
Yeah.
I'm like, everything was just kind of old around Baby, which got to my feelings about Baby, where I think he's kind of a Mary Sue, James Dean character. Because
for sure.
A lot of my guy friends who I would consider sensitive really loved this movie. They were like, that's so me. I relate to this so much. Like it's a very romantic movie.
Yeah.
In his dream sequence when he's leaving to go on the road with Deborah, it's 1950s.
He's wearing the sweater and she's got the poodle skirt and like
like all those details in this movie. It's all about this movie's mostly about romance, and honestly, the crime takes the second seat a lot of the time.
The other thing I thought was really cool, talking about art, is the costuming in this movie.
Oh, the costuming was very good. I love the sequence when he's running away and he tries to put on the outfit, and then you're like, shit, the cops are still right behind me.
Yeah, I love that. It didn't work at all.
No, it's just like, I'm shoplifting for no reason.
And now he has to run around wearing 2 jackets.
Oh, that sounds awful.
But there's a slight moment in behind the scenes, if I'm a broken record on that, where the costume designer was basically just like, well, I wanted each character to be amplified by their costume. Like their costume is like an extension of their skin. So like that's why everyone's wearing such starkly different things throughout the whole thing. I thought it actually kind of worked. Like
Baby is dressed like a greaser the whole movie.
He's dressed like a greaser the whole movie. Bats is dressed like a completely insane person. I loved John Hamm's like all black, dark leather, like super tough looking. Like I used to be on Wall Street. I have money sort of look. I don't know what to say about the other girl.
She was a baby doll.
Yeah,
she was dressed like a sexy baby doll the whole time.
Yeah.
And equipped with a sucker, which I hated. It's just like whenever I see a girl trying to like be arousing while sucking on a sucker, I'm like, stop it. The baby look is so gross. Don't like it.
Regency period.
Yeah, there are some people who enjoy it.
Ugh, there's an entire episode of How I Met Your Mother when Ted is dating a baby doll and how everyone else hates her.
That was actually very popular. Guys, here's some trivia. That was actually very popular during the Regency period in England, before Queen Victoria. That was the in look, was to make women look as much like baby dolls as possible. So that's why they had the big bonnets that completely covered their faces. They had lots of like cute dresses that made them look childlike, and they had bows and flowers and shit all over them because that was a very popular look back then.
Very glad I wasn't alive then.
Yeah, well, it's because every woman was owned either by her father or her husband.
Yeah, that'd be terrible in that time period. Just the worst.
Yeah.
We've been talking for a little while now. Is there anything that we haven't hit that we want to? We've
The old man, the
Joe.
Yeah.
Was it Joe?
I don't remember his name. His foster dad.
Foster dad?
I'm bad with character names.
I used to be really good about him. But now I don't have my phone near me, so we just have to go with Joe.
He was a very nice-looking old man.
I liked their relationship, and I liked how they're like most of their I liked that their whole dialogue was silent because of him being deaf, and I just liked how it was just silence. In a musical movie, the poignant conversations between them were just quiet and still, and it was really nice. It was really nice.
And then Baby could play his music as loud as he wanted.
Yeah, and Joe liked it because he could feel the vibrations.
And then they paid off really well at the very end when Baby is also his ears blown out essentially, and he's listening to his mom sing by feeling her, and just that whole kind of his relationship with Joe.
I believe it's Joseph.
Joseph.
Get it right.
Yeah. I don't research. What are you talking about?
It's definitely Joe. Joe works.
Joe, yeah.
Joe Schmo.
He's deaf, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, sure.
I'm kidding.
You can't hear us say his
all the
name
deaf
wrong.
people who are listening to this podcast are going to be
Hey,
mad.
fuck you.
Shit, I feel like an asshole now.
Everyone gets to be an asshole every
They're
now
feeling
and
the
then.
speaker on their commute to work, and they're like, "What?"
And also, never mind. I'm
We're
just
gonna
going to
stop that right now.
Can they drive?
Ken, we're stopping.
Did you say can they drive? Can deaf people drive?
Anyhow, about Joe. I like Joe. I felt like for how much he loved Baby, he was too much of an enabler. That was my only kind of thing with it.
I was just very happy he didn't actually get physically injured.
Yeah.
He was just kind of taking a nap on the floor when Baby got up there near the end.
Which means that Jamie Foxx is just a dick.
He just stole his wheelchair.
Yeah, I'm just gonna steal your wheelchair.
Thanks,
What an ass.
bro.
It's amazing that no one killed him sooner. Really?
Yeah. And it's not like that that room or the building is gonna take care of him. Hi, I can pay in cash for the next 10 years because I have all this cash. Don't ask me where the cash came from.
I got it from Walter White.
Yeah, or why a helicopter followed me here. Like, no, it'll be fine. Just keep taking care of me. Yeah, I don't see that working out. Turns out Baby's kind of an idiot.
Well, he's a romantic.
The romantics are not necessarily idiots, but a lot of times.
Romance is kind of dumb.
Oh, God.
Says my wife.
I mean, I love watching it, but a lot of times when I'm watching it, I'm like, you guys are all making terrible decisions, you stupid blubbering idiots. Just go have sex.
Yeah.
Romance.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Should we move into quotes? Quotes.
Yeah, why not?
Quotes?
My favorite quote, which I kind of already said, was near the end when Baby takes the key out of the truck and goes, "You're not meant for this life." And every time he says that, I'm like, dude, she helped you beat somebody up, ram people with cars, and she's driving away from cops. I think she's very adept. Like, don't make this decision for her. Like, she's all in.
She's really the only person we didn't talk about much, but there's not
We
really
talked
much
about
to
her at the
say.
beginning.
Yeah. I just talked about how much I hate her relationship.
She makes terrible decisions because
She
she's
does.
also a romantic.
Two romantics do not make a right.
Two romantics
the
end
thing?
up dead like Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. All right, so my quote is, it's a very short little line, but it just kind of clicked with me that I thought it was funny. It felt very Edgar Wright. When they walk into the gun exchange and Baby obviously has the headphones in, he's like, what's he doing? Oh, he's loony like his tunes.
Nice.
It's like, it feels very Edgar Wright to me.
Oh, yeah, I've got one kind of in a similar vein of that sort of style where they're it's the heist that goes wrong with the two guys, the guy from Back to the Future. I can never remember his Flea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that conversation, but with the other guy, JD. Baby's like, your tattoo says hat. Yeah, I used to say hate, but to increase my chances of employment, I had the E removed. And he's like, how's that working out for you? It's like, who doesn't like hats? And I wasn't expecting that the second time
That
around.
was really funny. Yeah.
And I lost it because I'm like, well, what?
He's got a good point. Who doesn't like hats? I'm wearing one right now.
Dogs do not like hats.
Oh, that's true. They think your head looks weird, and so does
no, they
Groot.
don't like wearing them.
They also don't
Well,
like people wearing them. And then Groot
Cats also do not like wearing hats either.
That's very true.
True story.
This is very true.
and neither does Groot.
Okay, I got one. Because as I'm supposed to. Because it's a musical, and I had this in my head for like a week afterward, and now it's in my head again. I'm going with B-A-B-Y, baby. That's mine.
There we go. It works.
Yeah.
And you can sing, apparently.
I do okay.
I can't sing.
I get by.
I like karaoke.
Modesty.
I make do.
Review system. Musicals.
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 Oh my god, we were just talking about Guys and Dolls, so I'm going to say Guys and Dolls.
Okay.
Sweet.
Do you have a reason why Guys and Dolls?
Because Guys and Dolls is really great. And it has awesome songs in it. And also some, actually the women in Guys and Dolls are better than the women in this movie. Yeah, I like it.
That works. I'm going to go with Hairspray, the remake, and I think I've used it before recently. But I just did it because it's very stuck in the 50s, kind of like Baby's character is, and it's got a lot of colors and dancing and energetic and fun, just like this movie.
Oh, I'm going to add that Guys and Dolls is about crime.
Oh, that works.
There you go. Boy, I yelled impulsively a musical and then I had to back it up. So that-
It worked.
I'm gonna do a Little Shop of Horrors, just because I like it. No, it brings me the same sense of joy in its construction of its songs, its music, and its sense of humor. Both have a very fun and unique sense of humor about their given genre that they're in. I mean, they're both musicals, but they're story types. Like, this is car heist, this is sci-fi, but I like how they handle it, especially the comedy.
Yeah, that works.
And both movies bring me a lot of joy when I watch them.
I'm going to go with Sing Street.
Okay.
Because it's about a boy who loves a girl. And
He's an idiot,
do
too.
Yeah, he's kind of an idiot. But he's actually turned out to be really good at the thing he's doing. He's a pure romance. He doesn't really know this girl. But he's going to run off to England with her. And they're both going to become
Dingland?
successal.
Dingland.
I said England. Didn't I?
Oh, it sounded like you said Dingland.
I thought I said
I heard
Dingling.
Dingling, too.
I thought Dingling, like ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Dingling. Like they're going to go off. She's
Maybe
gonna go
I was
off and
about to
dingle
say
him.
Dublin or something. And then
What does that mean? Well, we
They're
dingled.
gonna-
Well, they're trying to
They're
run
gonna
off to
go off and
England.
dingle.
They're
We went to-
trying to run away.
We went to dinner and then dingled.
Oh, my God.
Next time you want to get busy,
There's a
you
lot
just
of
be
good
like,
music
Hey,
in it."
Brian, you want to
Should-
go dingle?
Instead of Netflix and
Chewie's
like,
going to cut a bitch. We need to let her finish.
And it's a romance that I don't think it will work out at the end. But it's real cute that they're trying so hard.
I think it worked out wonderfully.
Yeah, I don't know.
The movie's adorable. And
dinner and a dingle.
We're done. So that brings today's episode
I'm
to a
gonna go
close.
dingle off now.
Oh my God, we're done with dingling.
No, we
Dingle
are not
all
done
the
with
way.
dingling. That's a new word that we're using.
It's a podcast approved word. # dingle.
Podcast denied word. # no more dingle.
Hashtag not all dingle.
Oh my God.
Now we're not even talking.
No, these aren't even words anymore.
Sorry, words.
Okay, so next week.
This is a soul coughing
Next
song.
week, we have our second episode of our ongoing, very slowly ongoing series of all the films that have won Best Picture ever. So we're starting things off for the second week in time with The Broadway Melody. Thunderous
Which we're all
applause.
very excited about.
It should be a lot of fun. I've heard both wonderful and terrible things about it, so those are always my favorite ones to watch. And then coming up after that, in celebration of Justice League, I thought, what would be better than a movie chock full of CGI to do an animated DC movie battle? So that's any of the movies from DC's very large catalog of animated films up against each other. It should be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's the battle. Now I'm mad. I'm gonna have to miss
That's
it.
gonna
I
be a
won't
good
be able
one.
to talk about the Wonder Woman movie I like so much.
Nope. Now one of us will have to take it. Then after that, we have Elle. If you didn't see that one last year, apparently it's fantastic. I look forward to watching it. And then the week after that, we have The Big Sick, which I've also heard is fantastic. All good stuff that I haven't really seen yet, which is exciting because I usually don't have that capability. Usually I've seen everything by this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You movie watcher,
There's a lot
you.
of movies in this world.
I have watched 167 movies so far this year.
Good Lord.
Brian's very unhappy with a lot of those.
Oh, yeah. I've made a lot of poor choices. I've enjoyed like 30 of those.
Oh, man.
But I've seen them, and I will release the list on our After the Hype page at the end of the year. That's my plan for a while.
Oh, you've been logged, like you log
Oh,
everything
yeah.
you've seen?
I've logged it all.
That's
He's trying to be Scorsese.
okay, because that
wasn't
sounds like a
Scorsese.
little obsessive compulsive.
I
Who
keep
is
trying
it?
and then forgetting, and then like 30, like 20 movies.
David Fincher.
David Fincher.
Yeah. David Fincher inspired me. And
The Finch Man.
Fincher.
The Finchster.
The Finchster. All right, bye!
Dingle, 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 dingle.